Batman Shadow War. What happens when the League of Assassins goes up against Deathstroke and his men, and who is to blame for the death of Ra's al Ghul? This is an event that happened in Batman a few years ago, and today we're going to be covering it right here. He was once the greatest mind the world had ever seen. His feuds with the detective are things of legends. He has held off those who thought his mission of saving the world was extreme, and he has trained others to follow in his footsteps. Ra's al Ghul begins to cough as he looks at himself in the mirror, telling himself that he is now just an old man with nothing left to. But before he could even finish that thought, he hears shouting from within his palace in Nepal. He grabs his blades, stalking into the shadows to find his daughter Talia and grandson Damien in the courtyard sparring. He sighs in relief as he watches for a bit. But then his cough comes back, and this time the blood is on his hands. He stares at the blood, remembering what his mother told him. The Lazarus pits, they are cursed. After a few moments of thinking, Ra's looks up at the moon and says that it is time. Back over in Gotham, Batman stops by Blackgate to stop an overzealous lockup from abusing prisoners when he gets a call from Oracle. She tells him that there is something on the news that he needs to see. She's sending him the feed now. Batman pauses for a moment to watch, and then whispers, This is impossible. The news is reporting that both Ra's al Ghul and Talia al Ghul have turned themselves in. But before he does, Ra's would like to make a public statement before his arrest. Batman hurries over to the Markovian embassy in Washington, D.C., where Ra's will begin making his public speech. And as he watches over things, Damien appears, telling him, How kind of you to show up, Father. Oracle tells Batman in his ear that he needs to patch things up with Damien. Give him a damn hug, Bruce. And Batman thinks about it for a moment, but then asks, Why is Ra's doing this? Because they believe that this is the right thing to do, Father. Once they are safe, the two of us can talk. Until then, stick to the mission. Ra's takes to the podium, telling everyone, Good morning. I have had many names. The one that I have chosen is the one that you all know. Ra's al Ghul, the demon's head. Some of you might find it hard to believe, but I have lived thousands of years. I have seen much of what the world has to offer, good and bad. Now, our world is hurting, dying, and for the last 100 years I have blamed mankind, that the world would be better suited with fewer people within it. That was a way of thinking that only led me to gain more enemies to defeat. And recently, I have realized the value in people. For too long, I have kept the secret that has allowed me to live this long life. It is time that I gift the science of the Lazarus pits to the world. If you will have me, I would like to share with everyone all that I have learned to save our future. At that moment, at that very moment, there's a single bang. Ra's is shot in the head. Across the way, Deathstroke lowers his rifle and starts shooting again, hitting Talia, tossing a few grenades. Batman rushes in, shouting, What are you doing? But as some of the grenades go off, Deathstroke holds up another switch. You can either stop me, or make sure Ra's al Ghul still has a body to go back to the Lazarus pits. The grenade next to Ra's begins to beep as Deathstroke presses the button, and as Damien hears it, he begins to run towards his grandfather. As the grenade goes off, Batman swings in, grabbing Damien before he can also be caught in the explosion. As they are swinging away, Damien is shouting, We can still save him! Just let go, Father! But Batman doesn't, and Raz's body is turned to ash. As Batman lets go, Damien hits him again, asking, Why didn't you let me save Ra's? Batman tells him, We were out of options and I made a call. Damien hits him again, Damn you! You always find another option! That's what Batman does! Why? Batman holds him. Because you're my son, damn it! And Damien steps back, telling him that he has now lost two grandfathers because of his choices. Batman looks at his son. If I was the one that was there, I would have saved Alfred. Damien stops, staring back at his father for a moment. This guilt trip being sent by his own father, something that he has been dealing with for over a year now. And he turns to leave with no words to Batman, who calls out, I didn't mean it, I didn't. Damien puts on his mask. Yeah, you did. I'm gonna go find Deathstroke and bring him in, dead or alive, without your help. Later, Back in Nepal, the League of Shadows brings Talia home to get her ready for the pit. But Talia stops them, telling them, "No, not this time. Fetch me a doctor and then send out a call. Tell our League of Shadows to come home." For once in my father's life, he tried to do the right thing, a plan that he hoped to save the world, and he was killed for it. It is time to set aside our petty squabbles, our unfortunate conflicts, to accept this mission as a favor to me. Ra's al Ghul is gone, but his shadow will live forever with us. The demon's shadow. From the darkness, we will strike in a way that the world has never seen. Deathstroke, his family, and anyone who has ever worked with him or tries to protect him, we will kill them all. Later in Zondia, at Deathstroke Incorporated, Deadline tells Prometheus, "What are we supposed to do? We can't trust Deathstroke." Slade wanted to turn the secret society into something big, and he attacks the Al Ghuls. "When I find King Deathstroke, I'm going to..." And Deathstroke walks into the room. What? What are you going to do? Deadline asks, "What the hell? You're making moves like that without telling anyone?" Deathstroke grabs him by the collar, holding out a knife. "How dare you question me in front of my son?" Deadline turns to the monitors. "Look, it's all over the news! You killed Ra's al Ghul." Deathstroke watches for a moment at himself. That is an imposter. I haven't worn that armor in years, and their fighting style is familiar. Someone is setting me up. We need to prepare for a... But at that moment, there's an explosion as the League of Shadows attacks, and the woman in charge shouts, "Death to Deathstroke!" The next story in this crossover is Batman 122. Over in Washington, D.C., Batman begins to comb through the crime scene as director Cameron Chase sighs, stating that the great Ra's al Ghul gets assassinated by Deathstroke on her watch. And not only that, Talia and Deathstroke got away. Batman doesn't respond as he activates devices that recreates an image of the scene moments before it happened. Chase asks if he cannot do that high-tech stuff. She'd rather not watch someone get shot in the head multiple times, even someone like Ra's. Batman looks around. "How did Deathstroke get past both your security and my satellites? No one should have gotten in or out without either of us knowing." She begins to laugh. "Oh, you don't know? Wait, do I know something that even Batman doesn't know?" Batman leans in close. "How did Deathstroke get into the location?" Just outside of the city limits, Chase shows Batman a giant hole dug into the ground that leads back into the city where they just were. And he asks, "How could no one have seen this before? It would take a large tool to get this done." Chase tells him that her team hasn't had a chance to look for any evidence yet, so he gets first dibs to see if Deathstroke left them anything. Batman looks at the ground, activating a scanner. He didn't, but that is far from our only problem. It took me 7 seconds to reach Deathstroke. If he wanted to kill someone, chances are that he will. So did he purposely miss killing Talia? He could have taken as many shots as he wanted in those 7 seconds. Meanwhile, back in Zandia, at Deathstroke Incorporated's headquarters, Prometheus fights back some of the League of Shadows. "This is a lot of ninjas! What the hell?" And Deathstroke tells him, "I know some of them. They're Talia al Ghul's people. They must be here for revenge." Deadline jumps in telling Deathstroke that he and Respawn need to get out of here. He can hold off a bunch of the ninjas. But as Deathstroke does begin to make his escape, Deadline fires into the group asking, "And who are you supposed to be?" And the woman leader cuts through, telling him that she is the Angel Breaker. Deadline shoots her, telling her, "I've never heard of you." And she tells him that the demon's shadow doesn't want to be known, cutting straight through him. Once the floor is cleared, Angel Breaker gives Detonator the call to take out the entire building. And he does so with pleasure. "I've always hated Deathstroke." On another floor, Deathstroke and Respawn are fighting their way through, but Prometheus tells them, "You know what? See you later, boss." And Deathstroke yells out to him, "You're a coward!" But then he notices something coming from another building that is coming their way. He quickly grabs Respawn, telling him, "We gotta move." He jumps out the window as a rocket shoots by, blowing up the entire upper half of Deathstroke Incorporated. As the two of them get to the nearby rooftop, Respawn is asking, "What now?" And Deathstroke tells him, "Something I've never wanted to teach you to do. How to hide." At this exact same time, Ravager, his daughter, is sitting in a bar as the news is playing the events of what is going on with her father killing Roz. She groans, stating that that's going to bite the family in the ass later. And at that moment, a group of men walk in. "You look a bit young to be in here." Ravager asks, "What, you want to see my ID?" Suddenly, there's a series of hits and cracks, and she hears a voice. "You left without saying goodbye." Damian walks up. "I need your help. Your father crossed the line. Deathstroke killed my grandfather, and I need to know why. His actions could." Ravager grabs her sword, telling him to save it. "Come on, let's go kill my dad." But while the League and Damian get to work, Batman flies to the Demon's Palace and really doesn't hide his presence there. The assassins surround him, telling him that they were waiting for him, and without a word, Batman begins to attack. There's a whirlwind of fists and slashes as Batman takes down the entire group with ease. Talia walks up. "You could have gotten in here without any of my guards seeing. You always want to make a show of everything, and without a drop of blood spilled. Impressive. A waste of skills, but impressive." Batman throws the blades. "I'd taken that you would know all about making a show. You hired Deathstroke to kill your father and wound you, so no one would suspect that you're the mastermind behind all of this." Talia looks at him with a cold stare. "I am grieving over the death of my father, and you come here to make accusations? After everything that we mean to each other, I expected more from you." "Roz was many things. A false martyr doesn't seem above him. My father tried to do things the proper way, and look where that got him. So no, I did not hire Deathstroke to kill my father. Deathstroke has been working on his own empire over the last year. I expected conflict, but Slade just pulled the trigger first. And where is our son?" "Searching for Deathstroke." Talia takes a swing, but then stops in pain as her stitches begin to pop open. "Wait, you didn't use the Lazarus Pit?" "I don't trust them right now." "As if you'd care." Batman looks at her again. "I never wanted to see you get hurt." And she pulls down her cowl. "You're the only one I'd allow to see it, my beloved." Batman tries to speak, but Talia tells him to shut up and kisses him. The next issue in the crossover is Deathstroke Incorporated, issue number 8. Angel Breaker now has the League of Shadows trying to pull information out of one of Deathstroke's members, Raptor. But it doesn't matter because Raptor doesn't know where Deathstroke is. While they are continuing their assault on Deathstroke's empire, he and Respawn have quietly sneaked into the underground tunnels of San Francisco. As Deathstroke pulls off his disguise, Respawn looks around the underground hideout asking, "Why here of all places?" And Deathstroke tells him because the Titan brats had a headquarters here, made restocking a lot easier. However, that isn't important right now. What is who set me up and why? While Deathstroke begins to work at the computer, Respawn notices several Titan mannequins set up as targets and throws a throwing star at one of them, hitting it in the chest and calling back, "Nice, right?" Deathstroke tells him that that's cute and then throws 5 stars, hitting each mannequin in the head. And Respawn tells him, "Yeah, that's cool, I guess." At that moment, the mannequins' heads explode. Respawn yells out, "Whoa, that's awesome! Maybe I need to have one eye like you too." Respawn holds out a knife close to his face, with Deathstroke telling him, "No, you can't be like me." Anyway, that is enough for discussion. We need to focus on what's going on right now. Afterwards, we can return to your training. Meanwhile, back at Nepal, Batman and Talia are sharing their kiss, with Batman stopping. "I can't. Selina." Talia pulls herself away, telling him that it was a moment of weakness. "I must have lost more blood than I thought." Batman pulls back on his mask, asking, why was Roz trying to turn both himself and her in? Talia says that she doesn't know why, but Roz has been rejecting the Lazarus Pits. His mind was the clearest that it's been in centuries. Batman thinks for a moment, stating that there is something that he is missing then. Why would Roz reject the pits? And Talia tells him because of Damian. Their son finally showed Roz that his legacy would live beyond him, that someone could change for the better. At that moment, Angel Breaker walks in dragging Raptor, telling them, I hope I'm not interrupting anything. I humbly return without Deathstroke. But I do bring Raptor, since he's also a member of the Demon Shadow. After being thrown down, Raptor sits up. Hey, Dark Knight, your kid did a real good number in that whole death tournament thing. Batman stares at him. What? Death tournament? Raptor stands up. Oh, I'm just making everyone mad today. Alright, listen. I know she's pissed about her old man, but this killing spree isn't going to help anyone find Slade. What are you talking about? Batman demands to know. And Talia explains that she sent the Demon Shatter to find Deathstroke and kill him and any of his associates. Batman steps between them, straight up informing Talia. I will interrogate Raptor. No one needs to die. But Angelbreaker holds out her sword. I will make him speak. After kicking Angelbreaker's sword from her and telling Talia to call the Demon Shadow off, the rest of the shadows begin to surround Batman. Talia looks at him straight in the eyes. Have you ever known me to do what you have told me to do? Batman quickly takes down some of the assassins and makes a path for him to escape, but as Angelbreaker starts to follow, Talia tells her to let him go. Leave Batman to his own hunt, and follow Raptor since he slipped out. After all these theatrics, Raptor will try and warn Deathstroke. But just as Talia thought, Raptor messaged Deathstroke letting him know that Talia's pretty PO'd and has people looking for him. It would only be a matter of time before someone in the secret society gave up his location. Oh, and Batman's after him too. Stay hidden and stay safe. As the call ends, the lights go out and Deathstroke says, no one knows about this place. How did they? But the secret door begins to open, and as Respawn gets ready to attack, his sickle is knocked out of his hand, and he's kicked back into the wall. Respawn shouts out, how? But then a voice tells him, payback's the pain, huh? Damian and Ravager walk in, and they tell him, you know the rest. Get ready to pay, Deathstroke. Next up, the storyline moves into Robin issue 13. With Ravager leading Damian to Deathstroke's secret hideout, the fight between the pair erupts before any real discussion could be had. Deathstroke yells out, I can't believe you led the bird brat to me! And Ravager shouts, after what you've done? It was the least I could do! Deathstroke spins back, hitting a button on the wall, asking, did you really think I didn't plan on people finding me? The wall opens up, revealing the hideout is now lined with bombs. Before anyone could do anything, they all begin to explode. Above ground, Deathstroke is helping Respawn out, telling him that explosions like that won't take out a cockroach like Damian, or even his sister for long. If the brat is here, then his father won't be far behind. As Deathstroke climbs onto the building, Damian leaps in. My father is the least of your worries! You killed Ra's al Ghul! As Deathstroke tries to explain that it wasn't him, Respawn gets ready to help his father when Ravager kicks him down. You can stay out of this. Deathstroke defends himself against Damian. You need to listen. I didn't kill Ra's. I was set up. Respawn shouts, it's true. I was with Deathstroke the whole time. We were never at the embassy. And Damian pauses. Why should I trust you? Respawn begins to take off his mask, telling him, because I'm him, sort of. Damian stares at Respawn, someone who looks almost identical to himself. No, this is a trick from Mother's soul. Respawn tells him, it's not, bro. Now did you get it? This is why I hate you. On the island, I hated you a bit less, but... Damian pauses again. Did my mother? And Respawn tells him, no. Mommy Dearest never knew about me. No one did. I was created by Grandpa. I'm a mix of Talia al Ghul and Slade Wilson. Ra's made me to run his twisted tests because he knew that Mother would never let him do them to her actual son. Deathstroke takes off his mask. See? This whole family's messed up. Damian pauses for a moment and then smiles. I have a brother? Respawn throws his sickle. Not for long! The two go back and forth, dodging each other's attacks, with Respawn yelling, you had everything! Mother and father's love! And you never appreciated it! You're just some arrogant little punk! And even then, people loved you! The two land a blow on each other's face, but as they get back up, Batman jumps in. That is enough! He looks at Respawn and sees the same thing that everyone else has seen. Wait, what is this? Who are you? Deathstroke steps in at that moment. This is my boy. And Damian explains that Ra's created Respawn in a lab. He's a mix of Talia al Ghul and Slade. Deathstroke goes on. That should explain a few things. That I didn't kill Ra's. I should have, but I didn't. At that moment, Deathstroke gets a call from Dr. Moon, but as the projection appears, Angelbreaker appears with her sword at Moon's throat. Well. We found Deathstroke. Lady Talia is going to be so pleased. Deathstroke asks, Moon, what the hell is this? and Moon tells him that they caught him, and he can take the torture, but they said that they were going to kill Phobia. Angelbreaker informs him that that's right, they will, and it would be in Deathstroke's best interest to come to Nepal so that he can face Talia directly, so that they can resolve this whole thing. Batman tells her that she can tell Talia that he will make sure that Deathstroke is brought to justice. Call off the hits. Angelbreaker tells him that it is all up to Deathstroke. Is he coming, or does Dr. Moon die? Deathstroke goes silent, and Angelbreaker tells Merlin to do it. Batman yells for her to wait, but Merlin releases his arrow, shooting Dr. Moon in the back of the head. Angelbreaker laughs. Who's going to die next? Ta-ta for now. I could have stopped that. And Deathstroke tells him that they both knew that even if he turned himself in, Talia would still kill the society. Speaking of, Talia was the one who set up the hit. Why aren't you going after her? Is it because only your people are in danger? What kind of hero is Batman if he only saves good people? Deathstroke throws a grenade down to the street, and people begin to gather around the hole that it created. Batman and Damian leap down to save the people. While Damian gets the people away, Batman grabs a hold of the grenade with his grappling hook, whipping it over his head and down into the giant hole created before. Even though they saved everyone, Batman and Damian find that Deathstroke, Respawn, and even Ravager have escaped. Damian tells Batman, I believe him. Not Deathstroke, but Respawn. He's protecting his father. He isn't lying because he knows what I'd do if he lied. But Deathstroke didn't kill Grandfather. Batman tells him, someone is playing a very dangerous game. Who would kill Ra's and why? Damian, we should work together on this. I have failed you many times and I know it, but let's solve the case together. What do I have to do to prove that we can do that? Damian swings up to the Batjet, telling him, you can start by letting me drive. But while we search for the real killer, who's gonna watch over the secret society? Batman tells him, don't worry about it. I called in some backup. Elsewhere, as Prometheus is being attacked, he finds himself getting cornered when suddenly Hook and Razorburn are taken down. Prometheus turns, wondering who it is, and Ghostmaker tells him, don't worry, you're under the protection of Batman Incorporated. The cell block was just as loud as it's always been in Blackgate, but a guard cuts through the noise, calling out to one of the inmates that his lawyer is here. The guard drags the man out of the cell, and the man says that those bogus charges aren't going to stick. And if he sees them again, they're gonna regret it. The man is thrown into the meeting room with the lights turned out. Batman and Robin step out as Damian says that they're from Batman and Robin, LLP. Batman slams the man onto the desk, and Damian asks if this is even the right one. Batman says that a few months ago, the Justice League encountered a crew of fake Deathstrokes who were working for the Royal Flush Gang. This is way too much of a coincidence. And the man yells, I ain't talking to no bat! Guard, let me out! But Damian politely asks his father, can I be the one to interrogate him? The man then says, I ain't afraid of no punk kid! What are you gonna, okay, I'll talk! What's the matter with you? Damian tells him, I didn't even touch him. And the man simply responds, whatever, listen, the Royal Flush Gang hired me to pose as Deathstroke and gave us cash for the costumes. They sent me to a tailor in Central City, his name was Gamby. But here's the thing, there was another guy. He wasn't with us, but he was also getting a Deathstroke costume, a pretty boy. Looks familiar, but I can't quite place his face. The costume that he got was special. He wanted the classic look. But this guy, he was not a happy camper. Anger radiated off of him like the room was shaking. It was scary. And with the new lead, Batman and Damian head over to Central City. But on the way there, Batman asks Damian about the death tournament that he was in. Damian doesn't respond, but instead stares at a reflection of Respawn in the window. Batman asks again, but Damian tells him, sorry, I didn't hear you. I was thinking about Respawn. It wasn't the first time that I've had to deal with a clone, but there's something about him, something that's different. I want to help Respawn, the same way the rest of the family helped me. A few moments later, the two drop into Gamby's warehouse and sneak in through the secret passageway. But as they walk, Damian says that there's something about the tournament that he wants to tell him. Father, I sort of have a girlfriend now. Batman looks over his shoulder. What? But in doing so, he trips the alarm. As the hideout's security turrets activate, Batman tells Damian to run. They begin to dodge flamethrowers, energy guns, regular guns, and Damian says that he would like it known that he isn't the one who set that off. The two barrel through the door at the end of the hallway, and it's there that they find Gamby's place has already been destroyed by someone. Batman sees Gamby's body on the ground and says that he isn't dead, just heavily tranked. Damian tells him that that doesn't sound like Slade. None of this does. This might not be about Ra's at all. This is about Mother and Deathstroke. Someone wanted a war between Talia al Ghul and Deathstroke. A voice calls out, "The boy is smart, but if he's as smart as I remembered, you guys would have stayed out of this and let me do what you couldn't." Batman and Damian look up at the imposter Deathstroke. "Was I right? You knew what would happen if you killed Ra's al Ghul." The imposter jumps in. "This war will stop when Slade Wilson is truly punished." Meanwhile, back in Washington, D.C., Deathstroke looks out and says, "Damn." He turns back to Respawn and Ravager. "Okay, you can come out now." And Ravager asks who is he talking to. Deathstroke yells, "Whichever one of Batman's sidekicks is watching us, come on out." Hood from Batman Incorporated steps out. "I am not a sidekick, but how did you know?" Deathstroke says that as much as they would like to think they are, they're not as good as Batman. "Now tell the boss I want to meet. I know who killed Ra's." Hood tells him, "First, Batman is not our boss, and right now Batman is following a lead, so anything you have to say to him, you can say." But at that moment, a throwing star is thrown into Hood's shoulder, and the demon shadows surround everyone, shouting, "Death to Deathstroke!" Everyone tramples over Hood as he asks why is he being attacked, and one of the ninjas tells him, "We're here to kill Deathstroke and his associates, including those who would protect him." Deathstroke, Respawn, and Ravager jump off of the building to escape, running into the next wave of ninjas. Except the next wave has guns instead of katanas. Deathstroke manages to punch one, grabbing a hold of another, telling him, "If I die, he dies too." And the captured ninja says, "My life means nothing. I live to serve the demon's head. Long live the demon's head!" As all of the ninjas cock their guns, Respawn throws himself in the middle, telling Deathstroke to get down. But before Deathstroke could tell him no, the ninjas open fire. Ravager fights through the last ninja on her side, but as she rushes over to where her father is, she slows down at the sight before her. No, 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 no! Deathstroke is holding Respawn's body, repeating to himself, "Not again! Not again! Not again!" The next story in the reading order is Deathstroke Incorporated, number 9. As Batman and Damian have used the clues to figure out who the imposter Deathstroke is, they now find themselves face to face with the man himself when he arrived at the tailoring shop of Gamby of Central City. Everyone stares at one another, with Batman asking, "Who are you? You must realize there are consequences for your actions." The imposter asks, "What exactly is my crime? I've removed a dangerous man from this world, a man who has attempted genocide for hundreds of years." Batman asks, "If that's the case, why don't you take credit for the death?" And the imposter tells him because his mission is not yet complete. Talia and Deathstroke need to destroy each other. But as the imposter is speaking, Damian notices that he's trying to hide an accent. "I could sense that he knows us, but no one that I trust would ever wear that costume." The imposter tells him, "Yeah, well, I followed your orders once. It never did me any good then, and it certainly won't now." At that moment, the imposter pulls out a gun, opening fire, but Batman quickly throws a pair of batarangs to disarm him. The imposter turns, charging through a wall, but rather than hitting the wall, he somehow bursts through it. The damage to the building causes enough of a tremor to start bringing down the room, so Batman quickly grabs Gamby and the two dodge the incoming debris. The dust begins to settle. Batman finds another hole like the one that they found outside of Washington, D.C. Damian watches him examine it and asks him, "What is this? Is there more to this case that you're not saying? Do you still not trust me enough, Father?" But Batman continues examining and not answering Damian. Meanwhile, back at Batman Incorporated headquarters, Ghostmaker and the others are trying to keep what they can of the secret society locked down, but everything just seems a bit too quiet. At that moment, there's an explosion, but instead of Talia's assassin storming the building, it's Deathstroke. Everyone prepares for a fight, but Ghostmaker says that this is just a distraction. The real target is the secret society who have already escaped. Ravager leads the group, telling them to remember no killing. They just need to get out of Gotham. But to make sure that the others don't interfere, Deathstroke stands between Batman Incorporated and Ravager, daring Ghostmaker to make the move. Deathstroke tells him, "I'm surprised we've never met. I've heard stories about you." And Ghostmaker tells him, I've heard some of you as well. Always thought you were a bit overrated. A lot of talk, but not enough walk. But what do I expect from a guy who usually goes after kids? Deathstroke grabs his sword, swinging. At least I'm not a low-budget Batman. The two go back and forth with swings, managing to get a slight hit on one another, until Ghostmaker kicks Deathstroke into the next room. The rumors were true. You're getting slow in your old age. As Ghostmaker walks up to finish this battle, he sees the Deathstroke is actually gone. Seconds later, Deathstroke grabs Clown Hunter and holds a gun to his head. This your boy? I had a boy. But I've lost so many kids because of you so-called heroes. Really need to stop letting children play dress-up. Ghostmaker steps forward, telling him, let the boy go, or so help me. Deathstroke grabs, breaking one of Clown Hunter's arms. You're fast, but is the boy's life worth proving how good you really are? Ghostmaker stops, dropping his swords. Batman would finally cross the line if I let Clown Hunter die. Deathstroke shoves Clown Hunter towards Ghostmaker. Congrats, kid. Someone cares about you. But before leaving, Deathstroke pulls out a small switch, activating it. Within seconds, the entire building begins to explode, and Ghostmaker says, I am so billing Batman for this. As they begin to escape, Clown Hunter asks, where did Deathstroke even go? But meanwhile, over in Nepal, Angel Breaker reports that she had spoken with Black Canary. She rejected their offer. They currently have no lead as to where Deathstroke could be, but they're still on the hunt. Talia says very well. But for now, we will take few precautions, starting with this one. She walks up to Mother Soul, telling her that Roz is dead, that he was killed, and Mother Soul looks up. I knew it. The prophecy is coming to pass. Talia scoffs. I am done listening to you. I've kept you here as a favor to my father, but we will return the witch back to Lazarus Island. As Talia leaves, a pair of her assassins report that a bat plane is en route. Should they allow it to land? Talia tells them yes. My beloved has come to his senses. Batman is going to bring back my son. Direct everyone to greet them. But as the hatch to the bat plane opens, Deathstroke charges in with Ravager and his secret society in an all-out attack. Next up in the reading order is Robin, issue 14. With everyone pouring out of the jet, Deathstroke calls out to everyone to slaughter all of them. Just leave Talia al Ghul to me. As Talia's assassins begin to fall, members of the Demon's Fist begin to retreat, stating that they offered to help Talia out of honor, but they refuse to die here. Before long, Talia stands with only Angel Breaker as her last line of defense. But as Angel Breaker tells her that she needs to leave, Talia tells her no. I do not run, especially from Slade Wilson, the man who murdered my father. And Deathstroke informs her, that wasn't me. But we're way past that now. Your boy toy is most likely not far behind either. But he's not going to make it in time. Talia draws her blades, telling him, I do not need Batman to kill you. Meanwhile, not far off, Batman gathers up Ghostmaker and the others from Batman Incorporated after being targeted by Deathstroke in hopes that they might be able to stop an all-out war between the Secret Society and Talia's League of Shadows. But as they prepare to fly in with their gliders, Damian notices that he is the only one without a glider. This is too dangerous for you. And Damian shouts, will I forever be a small child that my mother has left on your doorstep? Is this still about Alfred Pennyworth? You said if you were there, Alfred wouldn't have died. Batman pauses for a moment. What I said before, that was cruel and not what I meant. I should have never left Gotham when Bane took over. I shouldn't have left you in a position where you felt you had to save Alfred alone. Alfred's death was never your fault. That is why you need to stay behind. Because I need to know that you are safe. Father, you're going to have to trust me, whether you want to or not. Damian turns, jumping out of the ghost stream without a glider or parachute, and Batman quickly jumps after him. Damian watches the battles below, but Batman catches him to land safely. Fine, we need to find Deathstroke. As the others land shortly after, they all prepare themselves to jump into the fray, but a voice calls out. Hey, Koa Bear. Seeing you work with Batman is really disappointing. Ghostmaker stops, turning back to see Angel Breaker with her sword already raised, and he asks, what are you doing here? Angel Breaker tells him, old friends and loyalty are often our weaknesses. But Ghostmaker scoffs. You are never that loyal. She screams as she charges in to fight, and Batman and Damian comb through the area to try and hopefully stop Deathstroke and Talia from killing each other. As Damian gets ready to turn a corner, a ninja gets ready to strike down when suddenly he is cut down by Ravager. Damian looks at Ravager with disgust. "I can't believe that you chose to work with your father over me." And Ravager says that after what his mother did to Respawn, she had to help. Damian is confused, baffled by the statement. "What are you talking about?" Ravager pulls off her mask, asking, "Do you not know? Respawn's dead. Talia's ninjas killed him, just like they killed Hood." Batman overhears this. "I'm sorry for your loss. Too many have died over this charade. It needs to stop. Damian, let's..." But as Batman reaches out for his son, Damian smacks his hand away. "Don't. I don't need that. Not from you. Let's go find Mother." Inside of the palace, Deathstroke and Talia deflect each other's attacks, and Deathstroke asks, "Do you know what your old man did? He created a clone of us, a boy." Talia slashes at his arm. "My father's experiments were of no concern to me." And Deathstroke kicks her back, shouting, "I wanted to help the boy, but you took him from me. Right now, I'm not going to kill you. I'm going to torture you. I'm gonna make you watch as I kill Batman and then your little bastard." She screams as she lunges back in, her anger getting the best of her as Deathstroke readies his attacks, delivering a punch that knocks her down. He reaches down, picking up Talia by her hair. "You were close to surpassing Ra's a few times, right? You were the leader of your own empire. Hell, even Batman was afraid of you. But you always failed in the end. Forever chasing that dragon, aren't you?" Deathstroke swings his sword, with Talia catching it in her bare hand. "I am not chasing any dragon. I am the dragon." In that brief moment, she takes out one of her daggers, thrusting it into Deathstroke's chest, ripping the blade out. Deathstroke falls to the ground, and Damian runs in. "No! He isn't the one who killed Grandfather!" Ravager walks up asking, My father is dead?" Batman also stunned at the sight. "What have you done?" And a voice tells him, "What you should have done a long time ago." The imposter Deathstroke walks out. "My real hope was that they would have both died." Talia grabs her blade. "I killed the real Deathstroke. I certainly can kill this imposter." There's a sudden rumble throughout the palace, and the imposter looks at Batman. "You should be proud. I waged war in the shadows to get what I wanted." Talia asks, "What did my family ever do to you?" The imposter begins to pull away the costume. "Deathstroke hurt my family, but you hurt my country. The people of Markovia need their prince to avenge them. They need Geoforce! And you will all die today! Or only Talia. You decide." And now we go to the finale of the Shadow War, Shadow War Omega. Everyone stares down at the one behind it all, the one who killed Ra's al Ghul, the one who set up the war between Talia and Deathstroke. Geoforce begins to use his powers, and Batman yells, "What are you doing? Talk to me!" Geoforce tells him, "You know what Deathstroke did to my family, what he did to my sister. Seems like everyone forgot about Terra and the Teen Titans. But I didn't. No one can even stop Deathstroke, but I had to. If I could no longer be the hero of Markovia, I'd be the hero of the world. Ra's al Ghul, Talia, Deathstroke, they all needed to be taken down years ago. Now just stay out of my way so I can finish this Batman." Batman tells him, "That would not be justice then." And Geoforce is now furious. "Justice! What would you do if Gotham was destroyed? If one of the countless times Ra's had tried, he had succeeded? Would he be allowed to live then?" But just then, Angelbreaker breaks through the wall, shouting that all of the remaining Demon Shadow ignore the secret society and Batman Incorporated. They need to protect Lady Talia. As Angelbreaker lunges in with her sword, Geoforce turns, pulling apart the ground and bludgeoning her with stone. More rocks begin to pull up, and Geoforce yells, "If I cannot have my home, neither can you!" Prometheus tells the others to get Deathstroke and leave, but Ravager shouts, asking, "Where are they going with my father?" As some of the foundation is torn apart, the palace begins to crumble, blocking everyone's escape, forcing them to make high jumps off of the palace walls. But before they jump, a bat plane flies in close, and Black Canary tells everyone that if they needed a ride, they should have just called. Everyone jumps down onto the plane, and Black Canary takes off, but Geoforce watches. "You have forced my hand." The ground below begins to split as fiery eruptions shoot into the sky. The explosions then hit the plane, causing it to spiral out of control. As it begins to crash land, everyone slowly begins to pull themselves out of the wreckage. Batman asks, "How did you know that we were here?" Black Canary tells him, "Well, Angelbreaker asked me if I could help kill Deathstroke, and I said no. But that really didn't stop me from following. Just needed some help getting out here is all." As Black Canary is filled in about everything that happened, a thunderous voice calls out to Talia that her judgment day has come. And for her crimes, the Al Ghul line ends here. The ground begins to shake as the rocks begin to come together, forming a giant stone golem. With his massive fist, Geoforce swings down, separating everyone. But as it begins to rain rocks down, Batman is struck in the back, knocked off balance. Another boulder begins to hurtle towards him, but Talia leaps into the air, cutting through it before it can hit him. He tells her thank you, but she tells him not to look into it. Our son has lost enough. Batman then starts to look around, asking, "Where is Damian?" Along the side of the giant golem, Damian is beginning to scale up the golem's arm, telling Geoforce, "Stop being a coward and hiding behind your rocks." The head opens up. "Coward? Who said that I was hiding?" Geoforce rains more stones down, Damian dodging them, continuing to climb. "I did, when you disguised yourself as Deathstroke." Geoforce shouts back that he had to watch his country burn because of his mother. "A piece of me will burn with my people, but in the end, I know that my choices were righteous." Damian fights his way through the barrage of rocks pelting him. "It doesn't matter! You've killed people! Your actions led to the death of others. People who never had a chance to change. You dare call yourself a hero? Heroes don't kill." He launches himself as he gets closer, delivering a powerful kick to Geoforce's face, causing him to lose his connection to the golem. The towering figure begins to fall apart, and Batman leaps in, grabbing Damian before a boulder could land on him. Damian asks, "You caught me?" And Batman tells him, "Always." Ravager then says that the father-son stuff's gotta wait. This isn't over yet. Talia is holding her blade to Geoforce's neck. "If I so much as feel a tremor, I will end you." Geoforce coughs. "Is this the part where I'm supposed to beg?" And Talia tells him no. There will be no mercy today. Batman gets ready to step in, but Damian stops him. "Let me. You're my family, just as she is. Just trust me, Father." Batman stares silently for a moment and steps back, letting Damian take the lead. Talia grits her teeth. "This man killed my father." And Damian says, "Because of your actions. But he is far from innocent. Grandfather earned his death. In the end, he believed that our family could do something better, but Ra's also believed that he needed to pay for his actions first, that we all must pay, Mother." Talia shakes her head. "This man has done so much damage to our lives. I don't even know why I'm so upset." Damian looks at his mother again. "Because you saw that he wanted to change. And right now you have the choice to live by Grandfather's final wishes or to end this yourself." Talia struggles, holding the blade, debating the choices, and throws it to the side, turning to hug Damian. Geoforce sits up. No, the demon line must end! But as he covers his arms in stone, Talia kicks back, yelling, "That was for my father." And our story comes to a close. With the curtain falling, Geoforce is taken into custody by Chase, while Ravager tries to look for where the secret society may have taken her father's body. Angelbreaker escaped with the remains of the demon Shadow, and Talia honored what her father set out to do, turning herself in. As for Batman and Damian, Batman knows that he has a lot of work to do to make up for being, well, Batman. Damian too knows that he also could have made better decisions, but right now, Batman isn't worried about any of that. He's more worried about this death tournament and his son having a new girlfriend. Damian turns, laughing. An Oracle radios in that Killer Moth is back, teamed up with Firefly this time. Should she call Nightwing or the Batgirls? Batman smiles and tells her, "No, not today. This one calls for Batman and Robin. And there you have it, today's full story. I hope you guys enjoyed, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell right here on this channel, as it will only ever be receiving full stories from the other channel. And if you want to see the videos as they come out, make sure you go check out the Comicstorian main channel, where you get 5 days of videos a week. I'll see you next time.